Hello team and welcome back to the Process Program Summer Throwdown Update Show. My name is Ed Haynes and with me today is Mr. Alex Younger.
Hello everyone.
We're reviewing week 2. The scores are all in now, and I remember these are the unofficial scores. By the end of the Throwdown, we'll be going through and validating all the actual scores with everyone who's submitted their YouTube links. If you haven't done that, please continue to do so. Like we did last week, we will start with the live category, move to perform category, finishing with the compete category, going through the males first, followed by the female divisions. We're going to highlight the top 5 in each division, but we're going to talk about the scores of the top 3 in each division. Before we get into that, a massive thank you to our sponsors who've supported us in making this competition happen. Got some amazing prizes lined up for you guys. Pranoia, Lyra's Spirits, Down to Rise, Biltong Chief, Brune Blonde, Bear Bells, Nocco, Local, Clean Nutrition, and Earned Athletic Apparel. Thank you so much, guys, for your support. We really, really appreciate it. And I know our winners in our divisions, and of course, that Spirit of the Throwdown Award, who's going to have a 4-day retreat in Bali.
The Spirit.
We thank you guys very, very much. Al, how did you find this week's workout?
I think this week's workout for me is both workouts are very good for me. But with that was a little bit of pressure that I put on myself, but executed my game plan and what I wanted to hit, which I'm happy with. Didn't kind of get caught up in the moment. Executed the second bit to the degree that I wanted to. I do think the second bit threw a spanner in the works for a lot of people. When we went through it, the gymnastic element, I think, was just enough reps for people to either butcher their game plan or kind of ride just underneath it. So I think it was like a really cool line to see people either go a little bit too hard or not go hard enough, which I think was cool to watch people go through that battle.
Yeah, good points. I mean, when we designed this workout, we wanted to actually keep the tests kind of in line with our training cycle that we've been doing for Live, Perform, Compete, Elite. And that was going to be building to a heavy back squat. So we decided to start that test while people were fresh, get some actual metrics to kind of give people an idea of where they're at relative to the cycle. That second piece, so the way we designed it was meant to be a sprint test. And looking at the scores, pretty much everyone did get that dose response. It's why we had to change up the movements between the different groups to make sure that people weren't really getting too bottlenecked, especially on that gymnastics proportion of the workout. But the rep schemes were chosen in a way that people could look at them and think, okay, like I can do 10 devil press unbroken. The gymnastics, some of us may have to break it up a little bit, but those box jumps, like we can all do 30 unbroken box jumps. And that was kind of like the beauty of the program, I think, just to see. And it was good to see people really attack that workout. Yeah,
it was a really good environment in the gym, and I know all of our affiliates have said the same thing, so it's cool to see that second one go down.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to pull out this week. I've been doing that. The intention was to do all the workouts on a Friday, and I had a bit of a rough week. I genuinely think I just still didn't recover from week 1, and that's my fault. I haven't been doing the Saturday tests, haven't been doing the appropriate intensity. So that coupled with some life stresses, it just flattened me, and so unfortunately I had a little niggle in my knee. Tried to postpone it to Saturday, still wasn't ready. Postponed it to Sunday, still wasn't ready. Postponed it to a Monday morning, hoping that would be all right, but unfortunately just wasn't. So sucks, because I would have absolutely loved to test and see where I'm at on both of these workouts, but health and life takes priority here.
You're a good candidate for Spirit though, so look on the bright side. You could get a 4-day.
That's actually why I wanted to mention how positive my outlook on life still is despite pulling out. So judges, just please say no.
Checking boxes for the Spirit.
Let's get into our first division. We're talking about the male division, the male live division, I should say. Starting with our top 5, over to you, Al.
So unlike previous weeks where we've had some tied spots, we now have a 5-1 with separation, which is nice to see after the second week. In 5th place, we have Harry. In 4th place, we've got George. 3rd place, Jonathan Cianto. 2nd place, Swan Dog. And 1st place, Alex Chung.
Yeah, awesome. So, I mean, Harry is, he trains over at one of our affiliates in Tetsuka. George Mock, a new addition to the top 5.
Yep.
George has just joined Coastal here not too long ago, actually. Yeah. does have like a weight training background, definitely has done some kind of like bodybuilding, powerlifting, S-type work. I know he was contemplating over the high bar versus the low bar back squat for this one, going back to his old powerlifting days. But it's good to see Georgie climbing his way up on the leaderboard. Let's talk about our top 3 here. Jonathan, who trains over at Riverside in Indonesia, one of our affiliate gyms. He was, present on this top 5 leaderboard last week, and he's still hanging up there in top 3. He actually won the back squat with 141 kg back squat. We had heard that Jonathan was looking forward to the strength test in this throwdown, and I think one of his coaches were alluding to the fact that he might have done kind of some powerlifting and heavy lifting before getting into his affiliate, and that's a really big number, relative to the rest of his field of competition. But even when you look at like the perform and compete guys, it's still good loads. Yeah,
and I think potentially this is one of those ones where you're looking at the 2 workouts. If we're looking at a first place finish for workout 3 and then an 11th place finish for workout 4, what he's done is really try to play to his strengths, to try to get as much as he can out of that back squat, because potentially maybe he knows that he needs a bit of a buffer for the 4th one, which I think is really smart.
And this week of tests was a heavy into a fast.
Yeah. Now,
sometimes what you'll see is that actually the heavy lifters are sometimes also the powerful people as well. But in the nature of the test for workout 4, there was skill components to it, which is deliberately was put in there so it didn't just reward like the most physically capable athlete. Yeah. They had the chance to express themselves in a back squat, but you had to be skillful and have to have good technique for part B.
Yeah.
So when we look at our top 2, these 2 guys were both in the top 3. Alex Swan was previously sitting in that top position after week 1. He is definitely more of an aerobic athlete.
A little bit.
Yeah, he's done a lot. He's done Ironmans, training for Ironmans. He's done a really impressive. He biked up the equivalent of Mount Everest. When he saw the back squat come up, he was obviously head in hands a little bit, but he knew he could actually make it hurt in that second piece as well. He's an athletic guy. So completely contrary to Jonathan, Swanee went the opposite way. Yeah. He clocked in a 92 kg back squat, which I know relative to his training year, he's really happy with. So taking a 15th place on that, but then wrapping up with a tied first place on the second part, even despite falling off a box, I believe.
But again, playing to his strengths, which I think is again really smart, knowing that the absolute strength test is potentially not in his wheelhouse, just understanding that then he's going to have to potentially push a little bit more for that 4th workout, which is obvious that he's done.
So in first place, we got Alex Chung. He just recently joined Coastal, but he's been training at strongman gyms and doing lots of aerobic work, mixed modal as well as kind of monostructural work for years. He's a fit guy. Cool to see him already top of the live leaderboard. And this is where you get rewarded for consistency. Over the 4 workouts, finished 4th, 3rd, 4th, just like Justin Medeiros at CrossFit Games this year. It doesn't mean you have to win workouts to be at the top of the leaderboard. Yeah. The person who can be consistently at the top will generally perform well, and he's created a bit of a 4-point spread between him and Swanee.
Yeah, I think that's something to look at. If you look at the top 3 right now, Alex has been very consistent with all of his scores. If you look at Swanee, he's actually done really well in 3 workouts, but then done not so well in one of the workouts, and it's the same with Jonathan. So potentially there's some holes within their game, whereas it looks like Alex is very consistent across the spectrum of CrossFit, which is quite cool to see.
So awesome, Alex. Back squatting 126 for 5. Remember, our live crew had to do a 5-rep max, and then going sub 3 minutes, 255 for the second part. Let's move into our live female division, talking about our top 5. Al, take us away.
Again, no ties, which is good. So I'm now moving into number 5. We have Gemma. Number 4, Kristen. 3rd is Alin. 2nd is Tari. And in first place, we have Vivian.
Awesome. Just shout out to where these athletes are from, because I always love seeing just how diverse our participation is in our competition. So Gemma, she trains over at one of our affiliates in New Zealand, Raupatu. We've got Kristen, who was there last week. She trains at Riverside over in Indonesia. We've got Alan. Alan also trains over in Indonesia, but at CrossFit Tetuka. Tari, representing Tetuka as well. And in first place, one of the part owners of one of our affiliate gyms recently opened in Macau, Vivian at Mobox. Awesome work, ladies. Let's talk about our top 3. Let's have a look at the placings and where these ladies finished up on workout 3 and 4. Interestingly, when you look at our top 3, we have an 11th place for Alan. Second place, you got an 18th place and Vivian at 13th place. So what we see here is that none of our top 3 actually placed very highly on the leaderboard for the heavy strength tests, but they all did well on that next part in workout 4.
Yeah. So does that mean that there's potentially some outliers that are stronger, or do these ladies potentially just not have that absolute strength yet? Which is interesting to look at, to see the next 3 scores on workout 4. You've got sixth for Alan, you've got 3rd for Tari, and then 2nd for Vivian. So they can obviously express the gymnastics, they can express the aerobic capacity, but what we've seen is potentially the absolute strength is something that they need to prioritize, which is interesting to see.
Awesome. So when we look at the back squats, Alan lifted 65 kg for her 5. Tari edged over 66 kg for her 5, and we have Vivian locking in 70 kg. When we look at the biggest load lifted in our live female division, we had, just wanted to mention it, Tammy Crookshanks over in New Zealand, who lifted 100 kg for 5 repetitions in the live category, which
really
is
impressive.
Really, really awesome. Yeah. But we also had Cindy also lock in 100 kgs on her 5 reps as well. So we've got some strong ladies across the world in Indonesia and Australia lifting in our live division. Awesome. Let's move into our perform division, starting with our perform males. Al, take us away with our top 5.
So we've got a 3-way tie for the 5th place. So we'll give them all a mention. We've got Tiago, we've got Darren, and we've got Arthur, all tied for that 5th place. In 4th, we've then got Samuel. 3rd, Tip, which is cool to see. 2nd, we've got Mav. And 1st, we've got Brendan.
Awesome. So when we look at the kind of that top 4, no real changes from last week, but we do have a 3-way tie for 5th.
Yeah.
Tiago and Arthur both train at one of the affiliates here in Hong Kong, across at Typhoon. Again, I can't say enough how cool it is to see the other Hong Kong affiliates getting involved in our competitions. We're really trying hard to bring this community together at the moment. We've got our very own Darren Leung, who stepped up and is now sitting in 5th place. Normally follows a compete program. Yeah, I would say. Just going to call him out here, Darren. We see you on the perform leaderboard, but well done, sir. And then we go into our top 4. We've got Samuel Marb, one of the owners of Mobox. We've got Tip Fleming, a Coastal Fitness OG from many years ago. One of our very first members when we opened up a gym. Still going strong over in the US. And then we've got Mav and we've got Brendan Maxwell. Brendan Maxwell, one of Chris Twaza, one of our members. Yeah. One of his friends who is representing Lazy Lao White over in China. Let's talk about what we saw, what we see in the top 3 here, Al, when we're looking at the back squat here.
Yeah. So when we're looking at the back squat with the top 3, we've got Tip, who's put it in pounds, so none of us know what that means. We've then got 125 kilos for Mav, and then we have 145 kilos for Brendan as well. So we've got 295 for Tip, which is 124, 130, around that mark.
130.
We've then got 125 and then 145. So there's actually quite a big difference between Brendan and the rest of the top 3 with the back squat test.
Yeah. So looking at Tip in 3rd place, he racked up a 7th place on both these last 2 workouts. Yeah. But he took a 2nd and a 1st on the first 2 workouts, and so we know he's an aerobic athlete. Yeah. When we're looking at the point spread as well, though, it's pretty close between our top 3, 14, 16, and 17 points, and then a fairly big drop-off moving to our 4th place. So be interesting to see what happens on this leaderboard in those top 3 now. Looking at the tests as well, we've had 2 aerobic tests. Yeah. We've had a strength test, and we've had a sprint test. So
I actually think when we're looking at the next 2 tests, which we know, I think it's actually going to be
interesting.
I think it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top on this one.
Mav, for him, he is aerobic. He has a really good skill set in a lot of the movements. We see him taking a 1st place on the last workout, a 1st and a 2nd on the first 2. But strength is probably where he needs to prioritize a bit more of his time if he wants to continue to be competitive in the sport. And Brendan just super consistent across all of it. Again, hasn't wrapped up an event win yet, but a 3rd, 4th, 2nd, and a 5th. And that puts him at the top of the leaderboard.
It's all you need sometimes.
It's all you need. Okay, let's go into our perform female division. Al, take us away with our top 5.
In 5th, who is it?
We have Camille. Well done, Camille.
In 4th, we've got Megan. In 3rd, we've got Lisa. In 2nd, Sophie Feller. And in 1st, we've got Coco Chow.
Awesome. So again, we've got a new name featuring the leaderboard. Camille stepping up. She was excited excited for the heavy bar, and I know watching her hit that bar, she still had more weight in the tank, but
20 kilos left.
a bit of confidence. Didn't attack it. So Camille moves herself into 5th place with 2 strong finishes after an 8th and a 9th in the aerobic test, taking a 4th and a 2nd on the strength test and the speed test. It was really good. Megan, one of our masters athletes over in America, trains primarily out of her home garage gym with her husband and daughter, who are all in the program, which is so cool. But she also drops into CrossFit Norwalk, one of our local affiliates, to get some extra coaching there. Super cool to see Meg healthy, thriving, and continue to step forward into the competition arena and do really, really well. For Meg, her strength let her down a wee bit, but a good result on the last piece. Yeah. Then let's look at our top 3. When we look at the strength test, Lisa, who represents CrossFit Raupatu over in New Zealand, one of our affiliates, with the 7th place, 80 kg for her triple, and then a tied 4th place for the sprint. Sophie, 95 kg for her triple. I know she actually opened with this.
Yeah.
So that was some smart strategizing.
She only did one lift.
Yeah, smart. Used her warm up effectively, opened with her test, and that actually just gave her more time to then recover and prep for the next bit, where she ended up taking a tied 4th place. And then in 1st place, Coco Chow, again representing one of our Hong Kong affiliates. Hong Kong CrossFit affiliates. Fitness Academy. Cool to see her signing out, and she's been crushing it. 1st place, 2nd place, and actually interesting on the sprint workout.
It's just about to mention that in terms of, I would love to know whether that was a capacity issue or whether that was skill breakdown with that middle component. I think that would be really interesting to see. I'd like to watch her video when she submits.
Yes. Well done, ladies. Fantastic work. Let's move into our final division, talking about our compete males and females. We'll begin with the male division. Al, take us through our top 5.
So we have no ties for the top 5. In 5th, we've got Paisan. 2nd, David Hughes. 4th, David Hughes. 3rd, Alan Kai. 2nd, David. And 1st, Big Dog.
Well done, sir. So we're looking at our top 5. Looking at our top 5, we have a new entry into our top 5. Paisan, super cool. Paisan trains at Thonglor CrossFit. We have one of the coaches and owners of Thonglor, Gap. He's a part of our Elite and Compete program. So it's cool that he's bringing in his members to join in the Throwdown. And, really cool stuff to see him now on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Mr. David Hughes, he is a pilot. Does a lot of training in a lot of different places, lots of different disciplines, but he's a fit guy. He's been working hard in the last year on his craft in the sport of CrossFit. I remember
actual CrossFit.
Yeah, his last competition with us was one of his first competitions ever done, and he ended up not meeting a lot of the standards, not realizing.
It's something he's put work into.
He said he was going to be putting work into it, and it's really cool to see him, hanging around that top 5. And then, of course, we got our top 3, Alan Kai. One of the owners of another Hong Kong affiliate, Fitness Academy. Yeah, he's a strong dude. Always takes part in our competitions. Great job, Alan. Mr. David Treville, who actually competes in our elite division, normally follows our elite program, but because we didn't have many sign-ups this year, we moved him into the compete division. He is actually prepping for the Madrid Championships at the moment. He has aspirations and goals to get to CrossFit Games, and we've targeted this together. This would be a good competition, so we're using the Throwdown as kind of training prep for the Madrid Championships. The timing is kind of perfect, and of course, in 1st place, we have Mr. Younger. Let's talk about some of the loads lifted, Al, when we look at the back squat.
Could you put that on the top? I'd like to know who took the top one. So we've got 425 for the top lift.
Zion.
Which was Zion.
Who's over in CrossFit Subterra, one of our elite athletes. Strong dude.
And then we've got Alan, who came in 2nd with 405. So I think that's something to note within the top 3. We had Alan take 2nd place. We had myself take 3rd, and then David take 4th within the back squat element. So
can I ask how 182 for a triple?
Yeah.
How close is that to an all-time best for you?
Quite far away. But what I did leave a little bit in the tank with that final set. Didn't really want to push too hard with that. Just the aftermath is not particularly something I want to move into. So I was quite happy with the speed of the 182 that went through.
Let's talk about part 2 now, or workout 4. You had a blistering time, 1:48, so sub 2 minutes. And the next closest time to you was almost 30 seconds after you, which was Chris Toison. Having watched you do that workout, I know that pretty much all the guys here will be going unbroken and devil press.
Yep.
Most of them will be going unbroken with their chest to bars. It really comes down to transition times and how fast you can cycle through those box jumps. And your cycle time as box jumps is extremely fast.
Yeah.
Is that a movement that you like?
I just think I'm good in general at jumping. Bounding and jumping, something that I do tend to lend myself to relatively easily. It's the same thing with Olympic weightlifting, just kind of explosive inherently, which is something that I know that once I got to the box jumps, it's time to pull the pin. I actually went really slow on the devil's press, took a slow transition into the chest to bars so I would move unbroken, and then just knew that I had to trust the box jump over to keep the time going.
Nice. Watching people do that last workout, some different strategies in terms of technique. We had people turning on top of the box. We obviously had some people stepping down, but we know really they're not going to put a competitive time in if you're stepping down in a workout like this where it's meant to be thick and fast. And you were opting for kind of like a lateral jump, staying low on the box, almost kind of like springing out of it, the body height was staying the same. So I think technique super important on that if you want to move fast.
For sure. And I think when you're looking at the rep scheme, yes, there's, like you said, most of the guys went unbroken with the gymnastic element, but 30 box jumps done with a step down or a slower transitional speed makes a huge difference versus somebody that can rebound those movements.
Awesome. Let's go to our final category. We're now talking about the compete ladies. Now, we did have quite a few of our ladies not enter a score on this second workout, so unfortunately it's kind of distorted the leaderboard a bit, but we still have a competitive top 5 at the moment. So I'll take us away in 5th place.
Mahara New. In 4th place, we've got Tammy, somehow. In 3rd place, The Wolf. 2nd place, Anelli. And in 1st place, Adele.
Awesome. So let's look at our top 5. Mahara, coach over in CrossFit. Ralpatu, and she has stepped up into the compete division. She was thinking about doing performance start, but wanted to throw herself into the arena. Cool to see her grinding out with a big lift for her back squat, 90 kg for her triple. And then we look at Tammy Robinson. Unfortunately, Tammy had to pull out this week, couldn't submit a score. She tweaked her back a little bit in training. All the stress around Ant Haynes returning to Hong Kong, I think she couldn't quite handle. So unfortunately, just like me, she kind of left it as late as possible to try and do it, but made the decision to prioritize her health. But you know, when you wrap up 2 first place finishes,
you've got room to grow.
You've got some room to make those errors and keep you in the top 5. And then we look at our top 3. We've got Isabel, Annalie, and Adele. These 3 names have been up there since week 1. These guys are kind of trading off for points. When we look at the point spread, we've got 1 point between our top 2, Adele and Annalie, and just 3 points behind them is Isabel. So let's talk about some of our back squat numbers here. Izzy lifted an 83 kg, which I know is not a PR for her, but kind of relative to what her training has looked like and some of her changes in terms of her aspirations and goals, I know she was really, really happy with that. Yep. And then, of course, we got Annalie. Annalie loves squatting. Yeah. She's a good squatter. She's built to squat, and she likes the fast, heavy, explosive stuff. Yeah. So no surprise, but 115 is a big lift.
It's really impressive.
Yeah, that put her 25 kg over 2nd place in her division. And then, of course, we got Adele, currently over in Wales, I believe, on a holiday. But she's getting into the gym and getting the workouts done, which is really cool. And it's just cool to see her really excelling in this competition relative to when she last competed with us. It was, I think, early days when she just joined the program, had a lot more holes. I think she'd been a lot smarter with her training since she'd been a part of us.
And has been extremely consistent across the 4 workouts that we've had, which is, it's a
second, third, and second. Let's talk about that last workout. So we had Isabel Wolf wrapping up with a really fast 147.
1 second.
Very similar to you. We'll blame on the box jump height. Yeah. But she was super quick on those box jumps as well. I know she loves jumping, and that's a movement she's super comfortable with. So cool to see her, ripping through that workout, and was almost kind of 23 seconds front of her 2nd place, which is Adele with 209. I know Adele went unbroken in the chest of bars, and that was a PR for her, that she was stoked to do 20 unbroken. Well. Also after 10 devil press, so that's cool. And again, Annalie 219. So great job from our ladies.
Yeah. So reverse for the 2nd piece, we've got 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 3, 4, which is interesting to see.
So folks, that's it for week 2 of the Process Throwdown update show. Well done to everyone so far. Remember, we have 2 more workouts come out, workout 5 and 6. Stay tuned. You'll find us back here in the studio announcing our winners.